The great domes of Aethryn gleamed with silver light beneath the twin suns, a sight so magnificent that even the most hardened travelers paused in awe. Yet behind those glowing walls, not everything was as beautiful as it appeared. Deep within the royal palace lived Princess Saelira, the youngest daughter of the High Empress. Once celebrated as a prodigy of grace and wit, Saelira had been struck by a sudden illness in childhood that left her blind and frail. Her wings, once powerful enough to carry her across the skies of Aethryn, had withered into fragile, useless appendages. Her legs, too, had weakened, forcing her into a wheelchair crafted of crystal and steel. Among her people, strength, beauty, and perfection were prized above all. A princess without them was not merely pitied, but considered a blemish on the royal line. Suitors who once fought duels for her hand now refused even to look upon her. The council whispered that she should be hidden from public view, and servants often carried out their duties with veiled contempt. She was, to many, a reminder of weakness, something they could not accept in their shining empire. But Saelira was no less alive inside. Though her eyes no longer saw, her mind was sharp and her heart ached for companionship. Nights were long and quiet, filled only with the sound of her own breathing. She would often sit in her garden, listening to the rustle of leaves and the song of crystal birds, imagining colors she could no longer behold. It was on such a night that a new servant was introduced to her household, a human, an oddity in the court of Aethryn, where few outsiders were permitted beyond the outer gates. His name was Elias, a young man from a small colony world who had been brought to serve under the Empress's expanding alliances. Most nobles scoffed at the idea of a human in the palace, considering them primitive, but the Empress was fond of exotic gestures. Elias was quiet, dutiful, and had none of the arrogance that characterized her alien courtiers. When he first entered her chamber, he did not stare with pity or disdain. Instead, he bowed low, his voice calm. "I am here to assist you, Highness. Tell me what you need, and I will do it." She tilted her head toward the sound of his voice. "You don't hesitate? Most flinch when they see me." "I see no reason to," he said simply. "You are my princess, and I am honored to serve." Those words, ordinary as they seemed, struck her deeply. He spoke not as if she were broken, but as if she were whole. Days turned into weeks, and Elias remained by her side. He read to her from ancient texts, describing the vivid tales of her ancestors. He pushed her chair through the palace gardens, describing the way sunlight glistened on the fountains and how the blossoms unfurled in the warmth of day. He taught her the songs of his people, and she, in turn, taught him the deep chants of Aethryn. For the first time in years, Saelira laughed freely, but word of their closeness spread quickly. The courtiers whispered, mocking the idea that a human servant could be her only companion. One noble even sneered during a council dinner. "Perhaps we should wed her to this human. It seems no one else will have her." Laughter filled the hall, cruel and sharp, but Elias only tightened his fists in silence, unwilling to dishonor her by reacting. Later, when she was alone with him, Saelira asked softly, "Do you find it shameful to be near me?" Elias knelt before her chair, his voice firm. "Never. You are stronger than any of them. They only see what you cannot do. I see what you are, someone who listens, someone who cares, someone who deserves better than their cruelty." Her breath caught, and she turned her face away, trying to hide the tears welling in her blind eyes. One evening, during a royal festival, all the noble houses gathered for the ritual of bonding. In Aethryn culture, bonding was sacred, a ritual where one chose a partner by touching their hands before the circle of flames, pledging loyalty for life. Every year, unbonded nobles would present themselves, and suitors would step forward. It was a spectacle of politics and romance intertwined. The Empress insisted that Saelira attend, though many whispered that it was a humiliation. Dressed in silver robes, she was wheeled into the circle, her wings draped in silk to hide their frailty. One by one, nobles stepped forward to bond with others, the crowd roaring with approval at each match. But when her turn came, silence fell. Not a single suitor stepped toward her. The silence stretched painfully long. Some turned their faces away, others smirked, and a few murmured cruel words under their breath. Saelira's hands trembled in her lap as shame washed over her. She had known rejection would come, but not like this, not so publicly. Then, as the flames flickered, Elias stepped forward. Gasps rippled through the hall. A human, daring to approach the princess? Many shouted in outrage, demanding he be dragged away. But Elias ignored them. He walked to her chair, knelt, and took her hands gently in his own. "I will bond with you, Princess Saelira," he said clearly, his voice ringing through the chamber. Her lips parted, stunned. "Elias, you don't have to." "I want to," he interrupted softly. "If you will have me." The circle of flames blazed higher, recognizing the sincerity of his vow. The crowd erupted, some in fury, others in shock. The Empress herself rose from her throne, her expression unreadable. Saelira's heart pounded. She could feel the warmth of his hands, steady and strong. For so long she had been unwanted, unloved. Now, before all, someone chose her, not out of duty, but from his own will. Tears spilled freely as she whispered, "Yes." The flames roared in approval, sealing their bond. From that night forward, their lives changed. Many nobles rebelled, calling it a disgrace, but the Empress silenced them with a single command. "If my daughter has found loyalty where you cannot give it, then it is worth more than all your hollow gestures." Elias remained steadfast, never wavering in his devotion. He helped her navigate the palace, described every sunrise, and held her when whispers grew too cruel. He encouraged her to speak again in council, reminding her that her voice carried wisdom even if her body carried weakness. Slowly, the people began to see her not as a burden, but as a princess reborn. Her words guided new treaties, her insight solved disputes, and her bond with Elias became a symbol of loyalty transcending race and pride. In the quiet of their chambers, when no eyes watched, Saelira would reach out and trace his face with her fingers, memorizing each line and curve. "I cannot see you," she would murmur, "but I know you better than sight ever could." "And I," Elias would reply, kissing her hand, "see you clearer than anyone else ever has." For the first time since her childhood, Saelira no longer longed for the past. She had found something greater than sight, greater than flight. She had found someone who refused to turn away. And in his choice, she discovered that she was never broken at all. The Empire of Aethryn would remember many things: wars fought, treaties signed, stars conquered. But none shone brighter than the night a human servant stepped into flames and chose the blind and disabled princess, proving all that love, once given freely, could never be diminished by frailty or scorn.